Anushka, Janelle, Christina. Nice to see you. Hello, Morgan. Hello, Blinky and Donald and Smen. Hello, Jose and Courtney and Nikki.
Good evening.
Okay, hello, Maddie. Hi there, Bree and Wessel. Hey, Mickey, Tony, and Susan on YouTube. Hello, Karan.
Hello.
So just another 5 minutes till we begin. Maximiliano and Jamie and AD and Jim. So we are coming together to put down our thinking, to put down the monkey mind, the monkey always swinging from branch to branch, thought to thought, playing around. It doesn't stop, looking around for toy, looking around for something sweet, always constantly playing game, talking to itself, talking to the other monkeys. So we come together to put that monkey mind down, and then we can uh, receive some of the deeper wisdom from Ajahn Brahm and from nature. Even if the monkey can sit down and be aware, then there's some wisdom that will come up, some insight. So hello, Moss. Glad you're here. And Castle. And David. Hello, Rich. And Mickey. And Siraj. Hello. And Gabriel. And Anna. Hi, Anna. And here in the temple we have Mickey and Anna and Eduardo and Rue. And we have a cat, sick cat here. So we're coming together to continue our Buddha book club, going through the teachings of Ajahn Brahm on the art of disappearing. So we're all here to make some magic, the magic of disappearing, the self, the monkey mind, the thinking mind, the planning mind, to disappear, to vanish. No plans, no thinking, no tomorrow, no yesterday. This is it. This is really it. And when we come together for this purpose, it's to put all that down. It's to stop it. And we do that to open ourselves up to this different dimension of life that's not so focused on thought, not so reliant on past or future. So to start, before we get into our reading, let's find our meditation position. And as we hear the sound of the bell, we can take a few deep breaths. And as we are breathing deeply, really bringing the mind home to the body. Bringing our presence to being aware of the body. Feeling the breath as it flows in and flows out. Letting gravity do its work to really settle us in being aware and being present to this situation. present to this breathing. So the bell invites us to settle in, to become aware of our breath, to open up to just breathing and being aware. The joy of just breathing. Right now, our main activity becomes just breathing, just being aware. Feel fully whatever there is to feel. Be with it. Not through thinking, not through belief, but through your direct experience. The meditation method is this pathway to your direct experience. Just breathing, being aware. So we will begin with our continued reading and study of Ajahn Brahm's book, The Art of Disappearing, the Buddha's Path to Lasting Joy. And we are on now to chapter 2, bringing the mind into the present. But I'll just start off reading the last paragraph of the first chapter that I think is quite nice. So, understanding is the key. To meditate, you don't need to fix your mind on the breath. To deliberately let go of the past and the future, or to silence the thinking mind. Just contemplate suffering. Just contemplate the dissatisfactory nature of your experience. And understand it right now, through whatever you are experiencing. Through that understanding, you will find that the world disappears. The world in which you used to play will fade in importance. You won't visit that playground anymore. The playground of the senses, of the past and future, of sex and dreams, will fade away. It happens not because you make it happen, but because this is the natural reaction of the mind when it sees suffering. As all this fades away, meditation takes its place. You don't become a meditator. Meditation just happens. It's a path, a route, and these are signposts on the journey, landmarks on the road to complete emptiness and cessation, the ending of suffering. It's what happens when you disengage and let go. The Buddha said suffering is to be fully understood. Whenever you experience any difficulties, problems, disappointments, or any mental or physical pain, please don't reject it. Understand it. Don't just leave it alone. Contemplate it and understand it so well that it fades, and you realize it's none of your business. And this none of your business is it's truly none of your business. It truly has nothing to do with you. It's just the ego, the self, the small-mindedness playing games. It truly, in the deepest sense, has nothing to do with you. It's none of your business. When it fades away, your engagement with the world outside will be broken, and you'll start to engage with the inner world. You go in the opposite direction, not out into the world, but into the mind. Eventually, you also let go of the mind, experiencing complete cessation and nibbana. And then you'll be another arahat, another enlightened being. What a wonderful thing that would be. So eventually you also let go of the mind, experiencing the complete ending of suffering, the complete ending of unsatisfactoriness, and enlightenment. What a wonderful thing that would be. Bringing the mind into the present. When you're on a long retreat, you need to be very gentle. And this can apply as well for when we practice meditation for a longer period. When you are on a long retreat, you need to be very gentle. You should relax and ease yourself in, little by little. As you go further into the retreat, you tend to get into a beautiful routine. You experience how wonderful it is to have most of the day to yourself. However, when you have an ideal situation, when the externals are virtually clear of hindrances and obstacles, you soon find that the biggest hindrances and obstacles are presented by the mind. You may experience boredom, restlessness, sleepiness, or frustration when you have so much time to yourself. Nevertheless, it's important to devote that time to meditation. Without the solitude and the time to face the mind, you'll never realize that those obstacles exist in the first place. So when we practice meditation for an extended period of time, when we start to bring meditation more and more into our life, we start to notice and to become very aware that there are these obstacles that come up, these difficulties that come up. And naturally, our response is, well, I've got to get away from this. I've got to go do something else. I'm not going to keep following this schedule. I'm not going to keep showing up here. I'm starting to experience difficulties. Things are starting to come up in my mind. But it is exactly those difficulties that are subconsciously always there. So when we become aware of them, uh, we're able to deal with them. We're able to heal. So when we're following a schedule, when we're practicing meditation regularly, yeah, there are more difficulties that come up, but those difficulties, as we work with them, as we practice with them, they are leading us into this path of ease and joy and wisdom and freedom. So it's through embracing those difficulties and having more of them that we start to transform our relationship with difficulty in general, with obstacles in general. So without the solitude and the time to face the mind, you will never realize that those obstacles exist in the first place. So realizing those obstacles exist, you are becoming less ignorant. You're becoming less foolish. You're seeing more what's actually going on, not just what appears to be going on in your mind land, your belief world, your story world. A lot of people have probably heard about privilege. You know, this person was born as a man, so they have a certain privilege. This person was born into wealth, so they're a privileged person. This person was born into the US or a developed country, so they're privileged, right? Me as a white man, as a white male monk from America, yeah, very privileged kind of position. But when we practice meditation, we put down all privilege, mind to mind, face to face with the mind itself. No more privilege, no more excuses, no more trips. It's right here, right now. So it's a very powerful practice to mature and grow and develop, not by avoiding those obstacles and not by, meditating and then finding ourselves in fairyland where it's wonderful and everything's a trip, but really finding the obstacles that we have in our life, those subtle difficulties, those subtle habit patterns and neuroses of our mind that start to show up, and then we can deal with them. We can start to relate to them in a more wise way, and it can be an intense experience when you start to do that. It's not necessarily going to be so much fun um, to go through that, but it is worthwhile and it does work. It definitely is. From my experience, the more the difficulties come up, the more the poison's coming out. So being aware of difficulties and being with difficulty is a good thing. It helps us to understand ourselves more and more, allows our eyes to open up more and more. Mindfulness of the body and caring attention. One of the meditation techniques that is good to use, especially if you are busy, is mindfulness of the body. When you get disturbed, it's often hard to settle down again. Instead of going straight to present moment awareness, silence, the breath, metta, or whatever other type of meditation you use, sit down and just become aware of the sensations and feelings in your body. It's a very clear instruction. So when we practice meditation or when we want to bring some meditation into our life, instead of going straight into this, high-minded or high-level meditation, whatever it might be for you, just sit down and start to become aware, just become aware of the sensations and feelings in your body. Focusing on the physical feelings is a way of giving ease to those feelings. And this may be very helpful because a lot of times the mind states that we get into, from my experience, relate to tension in the body. So if I'm feeling a lot of tension or tightness, or maybe I had too much coffee or something, then that can affect my mental state. But when we start to focus on the physical feelings in the body, it's a way of giving ease, gentleness, softness to those feelings. This is particularly useful if you are tired or sick, and it's not that hard. To make this sort of practice truly effective, use caring attention. Caring attention is not just being mindful, but also looking upon those feelings with gentleness and compassion. You're not just aware of the sensations, but you are kind and gentle with them. Kindness and gentleness, along with mindfulness, make it easier both to engage with the object and to calm and tranquilize it. For example, if you have aches in the knees or some sort of tension in the body, you will find that using mindfulness plus a little bit of compassion for yourself makes it easy to maintain your attention on the body. I find this sort of practice very useful for things like walking meditation. When I'm doing walking meditation, after a while, my body starts to get hot. and sometimes when I sit down, it's a bit tired and achy. The physical feelings I experience are very prominent. They're loud and easy to focus on. This gives you an easy object to start your meditation with, which stops the mind from drifting off somewhere else. It also calms the body down when making the transition from the active walking meditation to the inactive sitting meditation. It's a beautiful way of focusing and not losing your mindfulness. Focusing on these physical feelings that we experience, and sometimes they're very prominent, sometimes they're very loud, and we give our caring, compassionate, kind attention to them. To focus on an ache or a pain with caring attention also helps to settle it down. My own experience has shown me that focusing on painful or sick feelings in the body with caring attention tends to lessen them. They seem to respond not just to the awareness directed toward them, but to the kindness with which you view them. Take the chanting that monks do for sick people. If you focus on those people and spread loving kindness or metta toward them, it seems to have a positive effect. Imagine what that type of metta, imagine what that type of loving friendliness, loving kindness can do for you. Because you are far closer to yourself than to anyone else. Spreading this caring attention to parts of your own body can have a huge effect on you physically. And sometimes, especially when you get into deep meditation and your mind is very powerful, you can see that it works. You can zap an ache with kindness and it disappears straight away because your mind is so strong. Just put your attention there with some kindness and it works almost immediately. The mindfulness, together with metta and compassion, has surprising power. During any retreat or meditation period, if you have any sickness, aches, or pains, and you'll have more and more as you get older, use caring attention. Later on, when you sit and watch your breath, this practice will be of great benefit. By watching the feelings in the body, whatever feelings are present at that particular time, and caring about them, you are actually practicing what I call present moment awareness in silence. When you are watching the sensations in the body, silent awareness of the present moment happens all by itself. There isn't much to say about these sensations, whether they're pleasant or painful. It's because they do not engender conversations, concepts, or language that they are a great meditation object for calming down the thinking mind. By getting in contact with feelings rather than thinking, you create a very useful bridge between the outside world and present moment awareness in silence, and then to the awareness of the breath. Does anyone have a question about what we've read so far, something to share?
I just want to share that I've been doing that just in my meditations, doing metta, and any discomfort in my body, and it really works. So it is to hear it that I right.
David, you said you're practicing like this. It seems like that's the kind of practice you're doing.
Yeah, that was,
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's really nice when we get kind of confirmation about the practice that we do, and we hear, some very experienced teacher talk about it, and then we can say, "Oh yeah, I was doing that right." So that's great. Anyone else have something? Okay, so we can continue. Using body sweeping to calm restlessness. Restlessness is a very common state that people go through. It's like you can't sit still, you can't stop doing things. Um, this is oftentimes expressed with like moving our hands in a certain way constantly, rubbing our hands together, tapping our feet, um, just having a kind of restless movement in the body. And it's a very um, normal state that comes up when we try to meditate. We feel restless. We couldn't sit still. I have found that body sweeping is a useful technique for people who are restless. It was one of the meditations I introduced at a recent retreat, and the meditators loved it. They were mainly executives, very busy people. They were so restless that giving them something to do proved very beneficial. Slowly noticing the feelings in the body, from the toes all the way up to the head, really calmed them down. It was an active meditation, but it was focused in the moment. There was not much thinking that could go on. And so by the end of the sweeping, they were actually quite calm, surprisingly so. Of course, those who knew how to go further carried on from there, and I was pleased that some people got into very nice meditation for the first time. This just stuck out to me, this line that Ajahn Brahm puts here. There was not much thinking that could go on, and so by the end of the sweeping, the end of the practice, they were actually quite calm, surprisingly so. So I noticed from my own experience that the times when I've been most worked up, most anxious, most, in a state of restlessness was when I couldn't stop thinking. Everywhere I looked, it was thought. I was just bouncing off the wall, one thought after another. So I like this idea that activities that do not promote thought, that are not based in thought, actually help us to calm down and relax a lot. It's always a great joy as a teacher when students understand what meditation is like for the first time. It is marvelous when someone says, "It was so easy and I got so focused. I couldn't hear anything. I was just really inside myself. It was so nice." The people who get deep meditation are sometimes the ones I least expected of. It's truly wonderful, and sometimes it all starts with body meditation. Having seen those results, I want to encourage this sort of practice. When you're meditating, don't just sit there and do nothing or fall asleep. Don't just sit there and say, present moment awareness, and then start thinking about all sorts of things. Try to develop the body meditation. It's not about understanding the nature of the body. That is a type of body contemplation that I don't think is very useful until after you get into deep meditation. Instead, just be aware of the feelings in the body. Give yourself another technique in your meditation repertoire to use during a long retreat day, or even a long meditation session. When you have different ways of meditating, you tend not to get bored, which can happen at the beginning of a retreat, especially, the beginning of a meditation, especially. And I like this, this focus on body meditation and just being aware of the feelings in the body. And it's so simple, it's so clear, it's so direct, but it's very antithetical to thinking, because our thinking is kind of relying on this narrative, past and future, and me and my, and you know, what I think about this, what I think about that. But when we start to look at and notice the feelings, the sensations in the body, what kind of thinking am I going to have about like a burning sensation in my calf, or a tightness, right? A clenching in the stomach, or the feeling of the breathing. There's not so much thought that can arise from that if we're looking at it in a simple way. So just be aware of the feelings in the body. When you have different ways of meditating, you tend not to get bored, which can happen at the beginning of a retreat especially. If you develop present moment awareness in silence early on by using techniques like body meditation, after a while the meditation starts to bite, to become naturally inclined toward the present moment, toward silence. The more you incline toward something and the more you train yourself in that practice, the more natural it becomes. This is what we mean by training the mind. That's how it works. It's just like people training in tennis. Their coach hits the ball to the same part of the court, and they do a forehand stroke again and again and again. They repeat the same action innumerable times, and because they keep repeating the same action over and over, it becomes habitual. In the same way, by developing present moment awareness in silence often, it becomes habitual. Anyone have a question or something to share about body sweeping, awareness of the body meditation?
Hey, yeah. Um, I can't, I'm not really in a position where I can talk, but I just wanted to say that I left a question in voice text.
Oh, okay. Let me take a look at that, Castle. Castle says, would focusing on the breath, tuning out stories about yourself disappearing, etc., is that a different kind of meditation from meditating on your suffering and controlling and confronting your inner obstacles, or are they the same practice? There's many different meditation methods. I wouldn't say that they're the same practice. I wouldn't say they're entirely different. But it's moving towards present moment awareness in silence, is what the method, those meditation practices are moving towards. Present moment awareness in silence. Yeah. So body scanning, you may confront a certain kind of suffering that is pain in your leg and your reactivity to it, right? And then focusing on your breath. You also maybe find more of a mental experience and being with that, being aware of that. When we talk about meditating on your suffering, we're meditating on what is there, what we are aware of. We're not soliciting suffering. We're not trying to suffer, but we're meditating on what is there. And confronting your inner obstacles, I mean, that's meditation. So they're not the same, but they're also not totally different. Castle. Okay, Stephanie, you want to share something?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
This book, right? Let's see, we can't read it, but it's like the story, uh, like I feel intention.
Not easy to hear you, Stephanie. The microphone's a little far away, but you have the book. You're not able to read it, but you're happy to have it.
Yes,
You're happy to have it around. It's nice
yeah,
to have
I
around.
can't, can't, like, control inside, but like a story.
Okay, so Stephanie, you might need to type this out. Try to type this out because it's not possible to hear. It's just your microphone is not suitable, so difficult to hear you. Okay, but thank you, and I appreciate seeing that book. Very nice picture of the Buddha there. So that'll be that's nice to have around anyway. Okay, thank you, Stephanie. All right. Anyone else have something to share about what we've read so far?
Just wonder what body sweeping means.
Going through the body, Christina, going from the head, body scanning, top of the head to the face, the skull, down the spine, the chest, the back, sweeping through the body. Yeah.
Oh, I understand. We do it in yoga.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Christina. It's also a common form of guided meditation. So commonly the one who's guiding the meditation will take you through the different parts of the body, and it's just like a sweeping through, a scanning through with your attention. And what I found is that for a lot of the body, you don't really notice much there. It's more of a spaciousness of the body. But here the point is just to notice the sensations in the body and to give your gentle, caring attention to them. And they are quite good to use for meditation because they're not very strong sources of thought. They're not very strong sources of self-identity, at least not in a complicated way. So being aware of your foot isn't going to remind you of, some past relationship that you're fantasizing about, right? It's a foot. So, so it's not going to put you in that position, right? So it's good to, and it's very special, I think, to be able to tune in to the direct physical sensations of your body and know that that's what's happening right now. And it's not based in thought. It's not based in story. So it can be very liberating and grounding to be aware of the physical sensations in your body at this moment. Can be profound. To learn that there's this perspective shift where rather than walking around the grocery store and relying on this person and that what do they look at me and what's going on here, you're having a panic attack in the grocery store because you're so caught up in thinking, right? Okay, well, why don't you just focus on your foot? And it's also a very real way to navigate the grocery store. There might still be some anxiety, some feelings, but just focusing on the sensations themselves. Okay, Nikki, do you want to ask that question with your microphone or?
Yeah. Is it just that we are distracting ourselves from thinking by focusing on things, the breath, body parts?
No. When no thought exists, there's no thought. When you don't feel a sensation, it doesn't exist. It's not there. It's not hiding out. Your thoughts aren't hiding out, waiting to come back, or pushed into the corner while you're aware of that sensation. You're just aware of that sensation. That's it. Certainly, thoughts will come up again, probably, but you're not distracting yourself from thinking. You're just not perpetuating thinking, and you're also not relying on thinking. So in that grocery store analogy, you are walking through the grocery store, relying on the sensations of your foot, the sensations of your feet, not on thinking, not on the story of why you're at the grocery store and who you truly are and how you relate to other people. You're focusing on, the pain in my knee right now. Well, that's just as real as whatever thoughts that I have. So I'm not distracting myself from some particular thought. I'm just aware of sensations rather than thinking at this moment. And really what it helps us to do is not feed thinking and perpetuate thinking unnecessarily. And as we make a habit of that, just as we make a habit of meditation, we develop this present moment awareness in silence. And we can say that the physical sensations that we have are much less complicated and convoluted than the physical sensations that we experience. Usually the trouble we run into in our lives, in our mind, is about complicatedness. And so the physical sensations are this doorway to simplicity and this doorway to the present moment, to what's happening right now. So as we make a habit of coming back to that and relying on that, we can make a habit of developing present moment awareness in silence. So we can experience silence. We can experience the present moment that maybe is not so caught up in sensations or thoughts. Okay, Anna, you'd like to read your message to share with everyone? I can read it for you, Anna. Okay, so Anna said, sometimes I use the sweeping method when having anxiety. Just as there are physical symptoms, I tend to start in the part of the body that is not feeling weird. And generally, when I get to the part of the body that was feeling weird, it is not feeling weird anymore. Or as seeing the sensations that persist, it stops being annoying. Great. There's proof positive for body sweeping. All right, so let's move to this next section, and this will be the final section that we read here today. And this is the importance of joy, and this is important. This is really important in our meditation practice. Once you get to the silent awareness of the present moment, meditation becomes joyful. That joy, the happiness, the interest, the fun, is one of the most important meditation experiences. It's what keeps you on the cushion and what keeps you from getting bored or restless, thinking, gee, there are another 2.5 months left of this retreat. How am I going to survive? That happens when you are not getting any happiness from your meditation. When the happiness comes, you think, wow, another 2.5 months of this? Ah, bliss. Joy in meditation doesn't come from using willpower or force, or from having lots of aspirations and expectations. It's what keeps you on the cushion and what keeps you from getting bored or restless. Oh, sorry, I went back here. Joy in meditation doesn't come from using willpower or force, or from having lots of aspirations and expectations. Joy comes from stillness. So allowing ourselves to be here, allowing ourselves to sit, allowing ourselves to breathe and be aware. By practicing caring awareness of your body, you are generating the ability to be alert to what you are doing. And because you are caring, you are not so forceful. That is when joy can arise. By developing this caring, you are also avoiding the negativity and fault finding that cause so many problems in meditation practice. Sometimes we get so negative that we start thinking, I can't do this. It's hopeless. The teaching is hopeless. The religion is hopeless. Life is hopeless. All that negativity is obviated by caring attention. Maybe obviated means solved, something like that. Because of your caring attention, you get a beautiful, open, and gentle mind. If you find that you are looking at the feelings in the body with negativity, just massage or caress the negative thoughts with caring attention. When you massage negative thoughts and feelings, you avoid making a huge problem out of them. So that will be the end of our reading today. Let's take a few moments to sit together in caring attention. You can take a moment to stretch out your leg or make sure that you're not crisscrossed too much. And any pain that we feel, any difficulty, we can practice to give it some very gentle, caring attention. Gentle, sweet, caring attention.
Ben, do you have a question?
Yes, Anna.
How do we massage our negative thoughts?
How do we massage negative thoughts?
Yeah.
By giving them our caring attention. So you can think of the energy, the approach that you would bring to a sweet baby, a sweet puppy. Even they do bad things, they make a mess. You're soft, you're gentle, you love them. They're beautiful, they're precious, they're small, they're delicate. And so you give this gentle, caring, loving attention. Now, this might not be something that you're so practiced with, but you can certainly feel the energy of it, the feeling of it, the style of it. And so when we give that kind of caring attention to ourselves, it's just to look at that thought and be with that thought without any judgment, and to take up this, see that thought as a little naughty puppy, and or a little naughty child but you love and you care about them, um, and you bring this sense of gentle, caring attention. So just breathing and soothing and calming whatever that thought is, not taking it so seriously. You don't take a puppy seriously. You don't take a baby seriously. You're not going to get into a debate about the world of right and wrong with a child who spills a cup of milk. It's just normal. So we bring this soft, caring attention, and it's a muscle that we exercise. So don't expect to, grow 1,000 arms and flowers to sprout from your body and be totally compassionate, but bring that energy of gentle, caring attention. Okay, Anna?
Yeah, thank you. That was very clear to me.
Right. And the body, being connected with the body, being grounded, can help us have a kind of a stable place in which to express our gentle, caring attention to those thoughts. Okay, so let's sit for a few moments in silence. Then we will hear the sound of the bell, and we can do chant together of sadhu 3 times. But let's sit together for a few moments in silence. So we can all bring our hands together and we'll say uh, 3 sadhus, which means great, excellent, well done, for our practice here together. Sadhu. 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 And we can all bow. All right, dear friends, thank you for joining. See you again soon, and be happy, be peaceful, be safe.
Thank you, Bante. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bante.
Good night.
Everybody still come. I don't know.